be hungry, not thirsty, because you can rub someone a certain way in 2022 and it makes them not really want to work with you 4, 5, 6 years later. And I've been on the wrong side of that too, right? Don't burn bridges. That's another thing. This industry is smaller than it seems.
Oh, yeah.
Much smaller than it seems, right?
Welcome to Get Seen Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Get Seen Unscripted. If you have not hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Make sure, as you are enjoying this episode, if you have a chance to leave us a review, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to comment your thoughts. We love reading those comments, getting those reviews. It really, for one, it helps the podcast so much, but it also is so awesome to know how this show is affecting your journey in a positive way. And I'm really excited about today's show because we have a really unique guest here today. It is an actor, but also professional baseball player over here, and many other things that which we're going to dive into, Mr. Alex Bentley. What's up, man?
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
I've been watching this, so it's cool to be here.
Dude, it's awesome to have you here, and it's been fun kind of connecting before rolling. But I'm excited to chat with you. And one of the things that you said downstairs, which really like just shoots us into the first question, which is like, you've decided to take two career paths that are like impossibly hard to accomplish. And you're like, I'm going to do both of them. And being a baseball player and being an actor, how hard did you hit your head to decide to do this?
I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure it's some form of mental illness. But yeah, I chose the two passions and crafts that seem to have the least margin for success, with 99+% of us on the fritz and on the outside looking in, fighting to make a living, doing what we love. But it's been a crazy journey. I've been unbelievably lucky, blessed, at times very well prepared, hence the luck, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, in both baseball and acting, if you fail 7.5 out of 10 times, you're a hit, right? If you book 3 out of 10 auditions, you're a superstar.
So I assume, I don't know this, but I assume like growing up, you were playing a lot of baseball. So like that was fun. Were you also like in the school plays? Like how did both of these kind of career paths collide for you?
Excellent question. I would say these two passions and potential career paths kind of collided both early in life and then again later in life. As a kid, I was a big storyteller, a big exaggerator. I also sang opera. So Mom had me comfortable in front of people. Dad was a public speaker. Dad had me uncomfortable in front of people. And I always wanted to make movies, especially movies about baseball, because I felt Hollywood had neglected the authenticity of it, right? It was good for Gen Pop and general population and general viewers that'll come spend $6 to $18 to watch it. But for us baseball people, and this goes for any craft, right? If you're a tuba player, if you're in band, if you're a chef, you want to see authentic, right? No chef is going to watch The Bear if the kitchen operations are not even remotely accurate. So that's how I felt about baseball. And it's kind of funny now to full circle be in Hollywood doing baseball projects, both in front of and behind the camera. But yeah, as my baseball career and my Major League Baseball dreams kind of started winding down, I kind of got bit by the bug. It happened in 2014 on the set of Blue Mountain State, Rise of Thadland. Alan Richson, how are you, buddy? He's the reason I became an actor. I was lucky enough to spend 5 or 6 hours alone in the car with Thad Castle one day, driving back from South Carolina, where we shot some B-roll for this hilarious montage of him wasting his NFL signing bonus buying a zoo and a farm and riding rhinos and all this crazy stuff. And it was that chat that inspired me to take the leap and just go for it. I knew I wanted to work on movies, but every set I was on, I wasn't doing anything fulfilling enough. You know, even the writer of that project, he had no creative control. They kept coming back to him saying, nope, we don't got money for that. Do something else. Do something else. We walked into a frat house and they all exploded for one of the background actors they recognized, but the genius and the writer behind the whole thing was in the corner of the room and no one knew who he was. And I wasn't doing it for the attention. I wasn't in it for the validation, but to be the creator of a project and have no one know who you are, it just wasn't for me. And felt like I was a decent writer when I tried my hand at it. My dialogue came off well. There wasn't too much bland exposition, right? I had a strong idea of how to tell a good story, but I just realized I want to produce and I want to act. And I would probably love directing, but seems like everyone and their mother want to be a director. So I tried to go down a lane that was a little less crowded, and seems to be working out pretty good so far.
I love it.
But like that conversation kind of organically came up downstairs. It was most actors need some kind of other income to supplement the dream. I chose the next least paying field in the world. Like, well, ball players don't make any money outside of the guys getting the millions. If you're not in the big leagues, you're probably not even able to provide for a small family. So
yeah, I feel like people that are artists, really, you know, I mean, artist or athlete, you know, kind of combining them. It's like they will work so hard, you know, like you're just truly doing it out of the love for it. You know, that's why you're willing to make so many sacrifices and, you know, financial sacrifices and, you know, whether it be like your lifestyle, all that stuff, you know, because you just want to do it so bad. In your case, whether it be playing ball or whether it be doing acting. And, you know, so yeah, so it brings up that point of the other financial things that we need to do as artists and as it sounds like a lot of athletes. So what are some of the things that you're doing to also give yourself the better financial stability? Actors, listen up. The Southeast is one of the top markets in the film and TV industry, and get ready for a career transformation like never before. Walk away with leveled up mindset and unshakable confidence. Breakout workshops to elevate your craft, incredible agents and casting directors who will help shape your career path. This is more than just a weekend. This is your chance to build on your craft and grow your community. The career you want starts here. The question is, are you ready to own it?
I call it supplementing the dream, funding the dream. So for me, I was fortunate enough right out of high school to know, hey, I'm kind of good at the storytelling and editing thing. So I went to film school in San Diego, junior college. I actually turned down scholarship offers from universities, Midwest, East Coast, Pacific Northwest. And I just knew it was time to go home and be in Southern California. And learning how to edit on Final Cut Pro and then Adobe Premiere, and then also learning videography professionally turned me into a multimedia filmmaker at like 19, 20 years old. I had my own little production company. I started doing weddings, commercials. I mean, I was hungry, man. I would just go knock on the door of businesses. I'd go walk into stores and just talk this guy into giving me $500 to shoot him a video right there on the spot. I still got places where in my contract from 2012, 2013, it says free parking in perpetuity as long as the owner doesn't change. So I get to park at the beach right in front of this little smoke shop. I made them a $400 commercial, but the parking was worth so much more every time I'm in Ocean Beach in San Diego. But, you know, it's bounced from odd jobs to real estate to glorified background work at smaller agencies that are doing, you know, corporate videos more so than scripted film and TV. Just finding ways to... I mean, I've worked at restaurants, Phil's Barbecue, a baseball coach, youth baseball camps, umpiring little league games. Man, a little bit of everything. We're like you said, we're artists. We're versatile. It's been a unique journey, and I know at this point, 99% of us artists and actors have to have some other income to keep the dream alive. Otherwise, it's just a fantasy and a pipe dream. So, yeah, I got endless respect for the grind every actor goes through. It's like, hey, I have an audition. I know that doesn't mean you have to bang out something for 3 hours. It means you got to go to work, get the shift covered, have someone dog sit for the actors out there with a kid or two, have the other parent come in. Like, just an audition.
Yeah,
it
man.
takes a lot out of a lot of people.
It does. You're so right. And I love like the idea of like supplementing the dream because I think so many actors get in this mindset of like, I'm a failure if I'm not doing this at a high level. If I'm not completely supporting myself, then I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, that's not true, you know? It totally based on where the business is right now. And I think we're in a big transition. So hopefully, you know, the pendulum has kind of gone far one way and it'll kind of come back. So it becomes a little bit easier for a lot more actors. However, you know, it's really, really hard to make a, not just I'm not going to say make a living, right? Because sure, if you want to be a crazy, starving artist, poor actor, you might be able to do it, you know? But like, that's not what we want. We want to thrive. We want to be able to go on nice vacations and have a nice big house and supply for your family. And, it's like, you want to be able to do those things. And the truth is, I think right now for so many people, it's just like, it's hard to get there. It is really, really hard to get there. And so it's like it's just about being smart. Like, just have some other things that you can do that bring in money to also help when you're also making money as an actor.
And hopefully bring you a little joy, too.
Yes.
I've definitely made less money playing baseball on the side since becoming an actor, but I've had so much more fun doing it than any other job.
Can't agree more,
love
yes.
the wedding videos, but I'm juggling my two passions. I'm juggling my two childhood dreams. Just earlier this year, I banged out an audition to play Jesus. That's a whole nother story we need to get into, by the way. I've never taped for Jesus before. About a year ago, I had 5 out of 7 auditions, all unrelated projects to play Jesus Christ. And I actually booked one of them. We'll get into that in a minute before I cut the hair. But piggybacking off the last note you were making, my mentor, Sir Darius Blaine, says, if you're auditioning, you're a working actor.
Yes. Yeah.
But a lot of us aren't even auditioning right now. The industry's in a very bizarre spot. The way crypto kind of goes up and down, or the stock market goes up and down, it kind of seems like our industry is hopefully at the end of like a 3-year correction, now ready for a bull run, because we need it.
We need it for sure, for sure.
But I couldn't agree with you more on everything you're saying. It all comes and stems from a passion for the craft, a passion for storytelling, a passion for show business and movies. And you asked me, you haven't asked me this yet, but if you ask me, why did you want to become an actor? It's like, because the happiest memories of my life are watching movies with loved ones. And sure, there's plenty of other happy memories on and off the ball field, vacationing, family events, but to just sit down with people you love and escape for 90 to 120 minutes, to me, that's one of the coolest things in this life. And there are very few things I love more than making a movie and watching a movie. And it's just these stories affect us, right? I can't. Maybe this is a testimony to our generation, but I can't quote Aristotle for you, but I can drop 50 different movie references in 5 minutes off the top of my head. So movies are just such a huge part of our life and culture and generation, and I don't see that changing anytime soon, that despite all the challenges we're dealing with right now in this industry, I wouldn't leave it for anything else in the world.
That's awesome.
Having that said, if you can quit, quit.
I know that quote has like some meaning to you, and it's so funny when we were connecting online prior to the interview. It immediately brought me back to my conservatory in New York, and I remember we had an instructor, Pete Mataliano. He said, if you can see yourself doing anything else, go do that.
I'm pretty sure that's the same conservatory my guy Sir Darius went to, and that's the same guy he got that from. What was the school?
The New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts.
Yeah.
And prior to that was the School for Film and Television.
I'm almost 1,000% that's the same school.
Yeah.
I know he went to a conservatory in New York. I'm just not entirely sure what the name was, but that sounds right. And the name you just dropped, what was it? Pete what?
Pete Mataliano.
Pete Mataliano.
Yeah, and he said if you could see yourself doing anything else, go do that. Because most people are not ready for how hard this is. They're not mentally, I don't want to say they're not mentally ready. It's just, it's a mental toll of work, like just constant rejection, hitting, making sure your confidence is at like this, like unbreakable level. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to make sure you're telling yourself the right stories, because all these things are happening that you don't have control over, that could make you feel small. Really
Absolutely.
Make those limiting beliefs grow, and so, what's kind of your thoughts on it? Because I know that you brought it up.
There are so few things in this industry within our control as actors that we got to do our best to be elite at the things we can control, because damn near everything else is out of your control. You can put the best tape together ever for a breakdown that sounds like your best friend wrote it about you, and still not even get a call back, and then see who they cast and pull your hair out. Control what you can control. Tape for the room, not the role. I tape for both, we got the role too, baby. But you already know. But at the end of the day, at its core of what you're saying, at the core of what we're discussing, if you can quit acting, I think you should. I say this to myself. Every day. So when I signed up and got started with this, I literally signed a contract with myself that I would not quit for 12 years.
Really?
Because every single person that I had recognized booking an elite role in a huge blockbuster project, I'd go back, do the homework. They started about 12 years ago. Every single one of them. Barring like a Stranger Things situation where they
Yeah.
needed someone new that, like, you need someone so young they can't possibly have that long of a resume.
Right, exactly.
Those are the exceptions, right? For sure. The High School Musical stars that blow up. But for the rest of us, you build a strong, lengthy resume. You build a strong reputation as an actor who can deliver, that casting directors can rely on, that producers and directors know will get the job done, that you're easy to direct, easy to work with, polite, punctual, prepared, all that good stuff. But yeah, this industry is not for the weak or faint of heart, man.
No,
Like you
no.
will tape for the same project. I just talked to someone right now who's been taping for the same project for coming up on a year, and he's done like 3 screen tests. He's the last one left. Huge project, A-listers producing and EPing, and he just found out 2 offers went out to a star from Black Panther. He rejected them both, and they're still looking for new people, even though they have him on the board. He's tested for the project multiple times. They like him. He's waiting to sign the contract for 6-7 months now, and he has someone on the inside let him know, hey, they're still looking for new people. Like, what more do I gotta do?
Right.
And it's a sports-related project. The person is working out with one of the best athletes in the world in that sport, one-on-one. It's like, this is the right guy. Cast the damn guy. But he's not big enough name. He's not a recognizable enough face. We still think we can get someone else from something else where more people recognize him and click on it. I don't think that's really a factor anymore. Like, I watch a lot of stuff where I'm like, I don't know anyone in this. I almost prefer that at this point sometimes.
Oh, it's wild. I see that all the time.
If it's not
I
a
see that all
star
the
that I
time.
really like there's less than 5 of them. I can name them right now. If it's not a top 5 guy for me or a top 5 actress for me, I don't really care that it's a star in it.
100%.
I'd almost rather see you grab a D-lister or a C-lister on the way up with a strong body of work. Do you watch The Penguin by chance?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Best thing
I
I've
heard
watched
it's
all year.
really good,
Best
though.
thing I've
Yeah.
seen all year. Colin Farrell's incredible.
Yeah.
But I've never seen her before. The woman playing Sofia Falcone stole the show. One of my new favorite actresses. Never seen her before, never heard of her. I go look at her resume. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember you from this. Oh, yeah, I saw you did. Oh, yeah, I watched this 7 years ago, but I have no idea who you are. You had 3 lines. You were 137 on the call sheet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's all those incredible stories. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have solid bookings as well, which I want. One is 80 for Brady, which, I mean, so dope. Pam and Tommy. You have others, obviously, as well. But can you talk about, like a big moment for yourself? I don't know if it maybe is in one of those credits, but
for sure.
I just grabbed those 2 because, I was really familiar with those. But like a moment in either maybe booking those or being on set or something that was like big for you?
I have a significant actor moment in my growth and journey to reaching some of the goals that sticks out for sure. And it was Pam and Tommy. It was a significant moment for me on the set of Pam and Tommy. I'm hanging out with Sebastian Stan in between takes. We're kind of shooting the shit a little bit. It's really cool for me as a Marvel nerd. And D.V. Devisantis comes up to me. He's the showrunner of Pam and Tommy. And I had taped for the show, I think 3 times. And didn't get any of them and just kind of moved on. Like, okay, that would have been really cool. I like Seth Rogen. The other 2 auditions I had would have been scenes with him. I thought I bodied those tapes. I thought I killed them. I thought they were so good. I was watching them 3-4 times on the preview button before submitting on Actors Act. Like, I was very happy with the prep on those. And just moved on. It's like, I guess it just wasn't as good as I thought, or I'm not what they're looking for. So DV comes up to me in between takes with Sebastian and says, your first audition was the funniest one of all, but I needed someone. I think the answer was I needed someone more Latino for that exact role. And I go by Alejandro sometimes. Me hablaba un poco español. I lived in Mexico, so I get certain tapes that are for Latino roles. And he said, you weren't quite that one. Then the second one, he said, you had the whole room rolling on the floor laughing so hard. And I knew the exact moment he was talking about. I have a friend from the Middle East named Moti who's got the most infectious, unforgettable laugh. And that's what we are as actors, right? As people watchers. I mean, I'm stealing from you. I'm stealing from everyone I see on a day-to-day basis that does something interesting, whether it's going to be for a reaction, for a memory, for an opinion, for a character's thought, for something I want to do, physical, emotional, whatever. People watching is my favorite thing correlated to acting. But back on topic. And he tells me the second tape was hilarious too. And I don't remember what he said, but he complimented all 3 auditions I did, which I thought, man, that's cool. Because we as actors don't get feedback.
None.
You don't know. Like, was my
Unless
audition...
you get on set and they're nice enough to bring up your audition.
So DV was, and this was the coolest experience I've ever had because this is the only feedback I've ever gotten. And he said, all 3 tapes that you did, I wanted to book you. And there was just a reason why you, not that the other person was right, but why you weren't right. So when this came around, I said, offer it to him. The Pam and Tommy was an offer. It was an offer after taping for the show 3 times.
Right.
But
yeah.
I did not tape for the role that I booked. He just said, all 3 tapes that you did prior to this were so different roles, and all of them were so unique and funny. I didn't even recognize you from the first one to the third one, the way I shaved and cut the hair. He said, give it to him. Don't even make him tape for this.
Because they knew that you could do it. I mean, and that, I love that story so much because, like you said, we don't get the feedback. And we think that these self-tapes just go into the abyss. Yeah. And they're like gone, deleted, forgotten about.
Do they even watch the whole thing?
And it's just, it's not, you know, I've heard a story like this so often where, you know, it's like that you read multiple times and you're like, what the heck? You like, what's going on? It's like, you got to remember, if you're reading multiple times,
it's a good sign.
It's a good sign. And the second part of that is really truly believe that, and this is where it goes into like telling yourself the right stories, right? You know, believe that these tapes are being watched and being remembered and being used to move you forward, right? We can tell whatever story we want. Oh, they're not watching them. They're deleting it. They must not have liked me. Or I just wasn't quite right for it. Somebody else was better for the role, but they saw that tape, and a good audition can never be unseen. You know,
I like that. A good audition could never be unseen. Nice.
Jason Lockhart. My agent and I throw that around a lot. You know, it's like a good audition can't be unseen. So like, do a good job and whatever.
Hey, Kim Coleman may have actually been too busy to watch that tape, but I guarantee you her assistant Ryan watched it and pocketed it in the back of his brain 7 years from now, when Kim's running her own company and he's now a top 25 casting director,
for sure.
Right? And you get called in out of the blue 7 years after a tape. Hey, I've been looking for something for you since 2015.
Yeah.
Just didn't find it. Then I saw you drop this weight or you gained some weight and your face filled up and I was like, oh wait, this role, perfect. Bring in the guy from 7 years ago.
Yep.
I hear those stories all the time too. I'm sure you do too. So yeah, that's like, obviously you want to tape for the role, but if you're truly invested in this long term, and again, I told you, I signed a contract with myself.
What year did you sign it?
2018.
2018.
So 2030 is the soonest I can quit acting.
I love it. I love it.
Let's get our bag before then. No, I'm kidding. It's not about that. It's really not. If I break even on this for the rest of my life, I'll be happy. I mean, that's not the goal. But if you get to break even doing something you love,
absolutely,
get good at something else, and then you got the money doing the other thing and the fulfillment doing the thing you love.
100%.
Or, like you suggested, in this era, no reason why you can't produce as well. How cool is that, to make your money as a producer? That way you're still surrounded by the craft, and probably then also pay yourself to act in some of your projects, increase your resume, increase your notoriety, and also keep working on the... I say I have 2 careers in the same industry. When people are like, what do you do? I'm an actor and I'm a producer. Oh, how do those coincide? They don't. I wear my producer hat, I wear my actor hat. When I'm burnt out on one, I quickly pivot to the other and keep a healthy balance of both crafts and both incomes. And, you know, we're not quite there yet. And speaking of producing and making our own content, everything doesn't have to be Jurassic Park. Every movie doesn't have to make $100 million. You can make a movie for $125,000. And if you have any distribution connections or skills or experience and background or network, which all of us as producers should be working on, going to markets, festivals, doing this networking. So much of it is you're able to do so much of it online these days. I don't see a reason why all of us can't make a film for $100,000 and find distribution and sell it for $300,000.
I mean, or even less.
Or,
you know, just like
you make
get
$50,000
going.
on it, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Make 50. Just break even on your first film.
Yes.
Your first 3 films. And you make $10,000, $25,000, $100,000. You know, 6-figure paydays might cover a lot of us for the whole year plus.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's my goal, is to reach a place where I am producing 1 to 3 films a year, netting $100,000 per project.
I love it. And you know what? That is such a... Well, one, it's a specific goal. You got to make goals that are specific. So fine job there. And it's very doable, right? You know, like I'll talk to actors and I'll work with them on their goals, right? And I'm like, what's a goal? And they're like, I want to win an Oscar. And I'm like, all right, like that's great, but like we're so far away from that. Do you know what I mean? The journey.
What are your
to
12
that,
micro goals to get there?
exactly, right? And it's like, so I love that. It's like I want to be making about 6 figures, producing these types of films, about 3 or so a year. That's not a huge payday, right? This is very doable. And then the beautiful thing about that is that it's like once you accomplish that and you're like, oh, I know how to make 6 figures as a producer. Well, I could just do that again. And now you're not making 100, now you're making 200. Now all of a sudden you're making $250,000. And you're like, well, if I can make $250,000, why can't I make $500,000? You know,
All
like
of a sudden you have a company and 12 different sales agents in your Rolodex. And now they're bidding for your movie. And now it's 330. Do I have 350? Do I have 375? You know what? Maybe we shouldn't sell this at all. Let's take it to the festival. Holy shit, we got 850. It happens.
Yeah, 100%.
And
I love that.
There's a lot of projects that I see people making where the production value doesn't seem to increase over the course of 5, 6, 7 years. So at that same time, continuously seek to improve, right?
Yes.
Like I have friends from acting class that would be like, oh, come check out our short film. We're going to sell it to HBO. I'm like, okay, I wish you nothing but success and joy doing that. And then you watch it and it looks like something an 8-year-old made with a video camera at home. And these days with some of the private schools and art academies, there are 14-year-olds making better films. So like, I don't like the term be realistic. I'm a Pisces. I'm a dreamer. There's nothing realistic about pursuing a lucrative career in acting.
Yeah. Or we'll say the entertainment business.
Altogether, yeah. I was just going to say, not even just in front of the camera at all. Yeah, I don't like to use the term be realistic, but at the same time, it's like I want to encourage all my filmmaker friends to go for it, but at the same time, don't tell us that this short film, low production, low budget value with no script that you shot on your iPhone, which is actually doable these days, is going to HBO, right? Every filmmaker that not every at all actually, but a lot of the filmmakers that I meet that are new to it want to be there. I'm already there. I made it. I'm on the red carpets. I'm selling this to HBO. And that always came off kind of corny and wannabe-ish to me. And there's a difference between authentically marketing your project and your passion and trying to tell the whole world that you started doing this 6 months ago and you're already here. So I like what you're saying. Tell yourself those good stories. Tell yourself, a lot of us are guilty of like the self-deprecating talk and humor, right? For me, it's the weight gain. I put on a few pounds when I wrapped up my baseball career. So now I'm just like, I'm just going to go home and be a fatty. I'm going to go home, Ben and Jerry's it up, carne asada tacos, right? And it's like, maybe if you were a little nicer to yourself, your soul, your aura, your frequencies, your energy would reciprocate that, right? But I stand in the mirror and I go, blah, and then I go tape. What kind of energy am I carrying over?
Hey, are you a parent of a young actor? Then you're going to want to pay attention to this because Get Seen Studios has what we call our Rising Star program. This program is incredible. It is a monthly program that puts you in front of an industry pro every single month and focuses on what a young actor needs to be focusing on, which is auditions. So every single month, we focus on either theatrical auditions or commercial auditions so they can be set up for success when they get an agent or if they already have an agent to really succeed at these auditions and even begin to make money at this. So we bring in different industry pros every single month and agents and casting directors and then work on those auditions. So if this sounds like something that you would like to get your child or a friend that has a child involved in, all you need to do is email risingstar@getseenstudios.com and we will let you try your first month for just $1 a class. That's right, only $1 a class. All you got to do is email us and we will get you all set up and ready to go to improve those auditions and then also get in front of those industry pros because we are Get Seen. Thanks for watching. Oh, you're so right. You're so right about that, man. It's like, you want to start, especially if you're like taping. I love that you brought that up. And it's like, even that, so many actors like, I got to get an acting class and work on this, right? It's like you got to work on what you say to yourself in the mirror prior to beginning. You know what I mean? If that's where you're starting, that's not a good place to begin, right? You want to be in a place where you are feeling good, confident, strong.
For me, couldn't agree more. For me, feeling confident, strong, good comes from quality preparation. If I'm unprepared, I know deep down I'm half-assing this tape. Even if I know based on the scope of this role, there aren't any names this is going out for. The competition might be a little more something we can work with. Like there's certain tapes I come in where I'm like, I have to be one of the top options for this. That's ego. But also then I don't prep accordingly. So it's like, are you though? So for me, the self-love is completely in line with the discipline and preparation. And I think the highest form of self-love is discipline. So if you're disciplined enough to sit down and give each, look, it's not realistic to say, I'm going to give each role the same prep, right? I'm going to get a co-star for a project that's in season 4 that I've never heard of. That's like, okay, this would be cool. $256 a day, no ego, no small parts. But which one do I want? Do I want this or do I want the Aaron Hernandez, Hulu, Ryan Murphy show series regular that I just got? Like, of course, one's going to get more effort, passion, and desire than the other. But yeah, each audition deserves discipline and prep. Or I mean, I'm guilty of this too. Like, I'll do certain tapes just to keep my rep happy. Whereas if I wasn't doing this for my rep, I might say no to this one. You know, so.
I think there's I know what you're saying there, and I agree. And then I think there's also another element to it, and this has come up on the podcast of like there is some like power in no. I really am just a yes person, say yes to everything, you know, but I am being more open to there is some power in no in the sense of, you know, you were talking about like your energy, your frequency, right? And so if you're doing an audition that you like really truly don't like or really truly kind of like feel bad about, or if you booked it, you're not going to feel good on set. You know, I've gotten to the point, at least in my career, where I'm like, if I'm playing the valet that's like, here's your keys, like I'm actually going to like hate myself on set. Like I'm not going to enjoy it. You know, so it's like, I got to be able to say no to those now, you know?
Man with tie-dye shirt. One line, one scene. Like,
Yeah. Like,
I would have been grateful for this at one stage in my career, but I don't think it's ego to say I've worked hard and I've achieved more than this.
Correct.
You're right. I've never seen a credit hurt someone. Having that said, there is also a certain stage where, and I don't think I've reached this stage yet, but there is definitely a stage in acting in your career where you'd be going backwards to do a certain part. So I have a rep in Oklahoma, for example. I have London, Atlanta, LA, top tier. But the Oklahoma market doesn't necessarily loan itself to top tier anything in this industry, which is natural. It's
Oklahoma.
It's very secondary to LA, New York, Atlanta, London. And like, for example, my rep doesn't even submit me. He sends me the breakdown and asks me to pick which role he wants to have me submitted for. So certain projects there at this point, I don't even tape for him. But it's kind of like what you said. It's like, oh, okay, I could tape for this and book it. Will this move the needle? Will this help me get closer to my goals? There's a saying from The Disaster Artist where Dave Franco is asking this elderly woman on set, he's like, why the fuck are you doing this project? And she gives them the sweetest answer. And he's like, you're not getting paid. You're sitting in traffic all the way up to Orange County and back, or whatever her answer was. And she says, because even the worst day on a movie set is better than the best day anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that's something I always kind of come back to when my ego clouds my thought process or judgment or perception of an opportunity and an audition that comes in is, okay, sure. Yes, you just worked with Jane Fonda, Sally Field, Tom Brady, 80 for Brady, all that. Great. Fine and dandy. But do you want to be on a set or not? I'm like, yeah. You have to fly to Oklahoma, probably lose $150 on this job, put yourself up at the Fairfield Inn like last time and maybe break even. I did a Lifetime movie where I played a doctor, and I like Lindsay Hartley, so I wanted to go meet her. She was the director. And I met Revel Carpenter on that project. Awesome blonde actress from New York. She's actually like my favorite actress now. And she hasn't quite made it yet. She's a working actress. She's constantly working. She was just in Succession and several other things, but I promise you'll hear about her in the next decade. She's on that trajectory for sure. So I met her on that project. That was cool. But I flew to Oklahoma, put myself up because I'm Oklahoma local hire, right?
Right.
Through this agent I told you about. And I got $350 for the day, but spent $400 on the flight and $150 at the hotel, and then another $150 riding around Lime scooters looking for some damn brisket in Oklahoma City. So I spent double what I made on the project. But you don't think that piece on my reel helped the Pam and Tommy and 80 for Brady? Like, hell yeah, it did. So
Of course, yeah.
that's an example of investing in yourself. And
It's just more sacrifices, that we make as artists. Is there? I'd love to know like a turning rejection into success moment for you. Again, this moment in time where you're like, yeah,
available on Amazon.
where you're like, this is a big mess up. This is a big fail. But then as you like look back, you're like, oh wow, wait a second, that I needed that. Because I think identifying those moments is so important.
I couldn't agree more, and it's an exceptional question. I feel that I've had a lot of failures in my life, and you hear that from like millionaire parents asking their kids, "What did you fail at today?" Not "What did you learn at school?" So failure is good. The more you fail, the better. I can't think of too many failures that, oh yeah, because I didn't book that job, I was able to then be there that day at 4 and met this person, But I can think of the fuel that each of these failures has given me and the edge that it's given me, So sometimes I'll get up at 6 a.m. to work on an audition that's due at 10 a.m. instead of getting up at 8, half-assing it and getting it in. And I think goes back to our last conversation about which auditions and this and that, but not every single one. I'm not a psychopath, but
I think that's so powerful, man. Because
that edge.
That edge. I mean, so it seems so simple, but it's like if everything worked out, like most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you were just getting it, there would be no drive.
Nor reason to celebrate the successes.
Yes.
So for me, that edge, like I'm an athlete. So to me, I want to compete. I'm always competing. It's borderline unhealthy, like
right.
at everything. Like I will not let my kids win at checkers when they get here someday. Like I'm not gonna play easy. That's just not my DNA.
No.
Learn to accept failure, like I did. But I as a athlete, former and current athlete, have this inherent desire to compete. And you speak to athletes who are retired. It's like, what do you miss? Do you miss 40,000 people in the stadiums? Like, no, I got to experience quite a bit of that. Do you miss the clubhouses and the good food and the hotels and the bus rides? Like, hell no, I don't miss that. Like, yeah, they're good memories looking back, but I don't miss it. I don't crave that during the day. So is there something that you miss or crave or feel that your heart and soul are lacking now that you don't play that sport anymore? I miss competing. I want to compete. I can't compete with my wife at home. I can't compete with the kids. So I look for ways to compete. So I see a lot of athletes. Get into real estate. And I think acting is almost similar in a weird way that you don't really have anyone to compete with but yourself in acting. And yes, there's 700 other actors maybe going out for the role that you're submitting for or taping for or whatnot. But your real competition is yourself, your daily practices, your habits, your discipline, your self-talk, the race against the schedule, not being that actor who gets the tape in 35 seconds before it's due at 11:59 Pacific time, right? So for me, a lot of those failures, and there have been a lot, damn near everything I've ever tried, I failed at, actually, now that I think about it. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
baseball gets you prepared for failure and gives you thick skin to handle rejection. The parallels between baseball and acting are unbelievable. And this really only applies to former athletes, so I won't harp on it too long. I know most actors aren't former ball players, but if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're a superstar. You need thick skin. You need preparation. You need mental toughness, the fortitude of the confidence, getting blown away by a pitcher and then coming back an hour later and kicking ass. Like I've had 3 in-person auditions in the same day before. First one, worst tape of my life. Second one, best one of my life. And guess which one I was more prepared for? So it's like being a relief pitcher. When you fail, you just have to have super short-term memory. Analyze what you did. Analyze your prep. Analyze what you could have controlled.
Yes.
Because there's so few things. Your attitude, your prep. That's pretty much it, right? Polite, prepared, punctual. what else is in our control other than those three things? Your brand, your image, I suppose, but on the day-to-day of what you can deliver a project and why they should hire you, we're all our own brand, we're all our own business, and those are the few things you can control. But yeah,
when you talk about the preparation, you talk about the preparation thing, and when you think, I feel like of an athlete, you know, they have all they're practicing, you know, constantly. You know, for, you know, ball players, it would be like spring training, right? You know, and I'm sure that's like a lot harder, more in depth than any other time, right? Because it's like right beforehand. Has that like changed how you prepare within your acting? Like created better habits for you, or do you ever like correlate them? Like, I do this in baseball, I used to train this way, so like I have to train this way as an actor.
It's funny. I'm trying to think what would be the acting correlation for spring training pilot season.
Yeah.
The month before pilot season, we go back in and do a boot camp of all of our acting skills. It's actually a great idea. Just a once in a month, 1 week camp to revisit all your skills.
Yeah.
Are there any parallels between my acting preparation and prior baseball training? I would say in the sense that our acting muscles are similar to our physical muscles, and a lot of it is repetition based. Yeah. I'm not referring to a specific audition or group of sides or certain script when I say repetitions of like memorizing it. As we know, memorization is less than 10% of the actual prep. If you're hitting your beats, your transitions, and you know the heart and soul of the scene and the characters, and you got vivid memories as both, and you're thinking the character's thoughts, I would think memorization almost comes last, at least for me. But yeah, from a sense of muscle memory, consistency, and repetition, right? Both in baseball and acting, if you just show back up after 6 months or 6 years, probably not going to be too crispy. Otherwise, yeah, almost everything can be equated and related to that. You know, batting practice, scene study, strong opening at the top of a scene, strong pregame, song stretch, come out in the first inning, punch the other team in the mouth. Like it's the more you know about one, it's easy to equate parallels to the other. But I feel like acting is, in a very bizarre, simplified way, extremely similar to almost every other craft. Discipline, hard work, consistency, a passion and joy, mental toughness and fortitude. I mean, we can get into the specifics of the craft, and this is why I love your show and the series so much, is I would constantly be watching interviews looking for gems and nuggets from actors, and so many of the people that have already made it are talking about what it's like for them at the level they're at, but 99% of us actors are still down here fighting and working our way there. Right. So it's like, okay, it's great to hear about what it's like for you once you're there. Can you help teach me ways to get there? Which is why I enjoy this so much, because it's helped with that, and why I enjoy my mentor, Sir Darius Blaine, so much. He's my favorite actor. Is he has been the only teacher I've ever had that is already there at that level, making the income we're talking about with the kind of resume that is goals, and breaks down in simplicity with vivid specificity how to get there, how to work your way up, things that are immediately applicable, not these esoteric concepts that I need to go home and stew on for 2 weeks before I can even understand. Wait, what did he mean by that? I've had a couple acting coaches. I'm like 4 years later now, 5 years later, I'm like, what the fuck was he talking about? Still to this day. So shout out Sir Darius Blaine, by far my favorite actor in the game. And he was tied with Jonathan Majors as my favorite actor. And they were going out for a lot of the same roles, you know, clear back to like White Boy Rick and stuff like that 5-6 years ago. But let's not go down that rabbit hole right now. Do you think he'll work again?
We'll see.
Yeah. Very, very neutral political response from your boy Jesse here, as he should. Yeah.
Well, man, I mean, I feel like we can just like continue this for another hour. But before I get to the spotlight sign off, you know, we had brought up producing earlier, and you know, I really do think, and we talked about this before, is like, you know, there really is like a big, I think that's like a real future in that if you want to do this at a high level, you can't just wait for the auditions to come your way. And so I love you're doing, you're producing a show called On Deck. Can you tell me a little bit about that? I mean, I thought it sounded super, super dope.
In one sentence, On Deck is a baseball-themed drama series similar to Entourage or Ballers, featuring cameos from baseball's biggest stars like Mookie Betts, Fernando Tatis Jr., names like that, Scott Boras, Harold Reynolds, Jenny Finch, Adam Jones, the list goes on and on. MLB, Major League Baseball, licensed the proof of concept for me, helped me shoot at Dodger Stadium, so the production value is top of the line. And it's I started producing knowing I'm going to be good at it. I've got the background to produce. I'm a storyteller. I want to work in Hollywood. I'm a filmmaker as well as an actor. COVID was coming around. I wasn't prepared to just sit around waiting, even though 2020 was ironically the year I got more auditions than any other year. Make that make sense. But I just asked myself, what do I want to watch right now? COVID's rolling and I had this idea prior, but the pandemic was really what forced my hand to get off my ass and go make this right now. And what do I want to watch? Like, write what you know, produce what you know. And I know the world of baseball and professional baseball and the gritty grind of what it takes to get there. And I knew that there are millions of baseball people in the world that want this, but I also knew that there's a lot of general population and former athletes who also can relate to having a loss of purpose and no sense of identity when you get done pursuing the thing that you have pursued and loved your whole life. And almost every athlete has had those dreams and aspirations and then come to a day where it's like, what am I doing today? I didn't get up at 5 a.m. to go train. I don't have any games. I don't have a contract right now. I sure as shit don't have an upcoming deal on its way in. Like, I think I'm just done. Volleyball, baseball, golf, football, basketball, like everyone comes to a point in their career where it comes to an end. And then you kind of have to figure out who are you? Who am I without this game? That was my question. Was like, all right, I got released. I got sent home from a team in Europe that I was definitely qualified to be playing on. I'm like, I can't even keep that. Like, what am I doing? I'm not good at. Who am I? Literally, I looked in the mirror. I'm like, where is he? You see that scene from Creed 3 where Michael B. Jordan's in the mirror right before the big fight at the end? He's like, yeah, there he is. I'm still kind of turning the corner looking for that moment. Yeah, there he is. But who am I? That was literally, that's like the core of the show is who are you? And I thought almost every actor can relate to that too, in a sense. Both who am I and what am I without this dream, without this craft, without this pursuit? So yes, it's a sports show. Yes, you'll see the minor league grind of what these guys go through and how most of them don't make it. And you'll see the flashy life of the ones who do. But it's very authentic, very gritty, very relatable. And it's a show about healing more than it's a show about baseball. It just happens to be healing through baseball.
Yeah. Dude, it's such a dope idea. I mean, one, I wish you the best of luck. But I love so much, man, that you're like, I was just thinking, like, what do I want to watch?
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes it could be that easy. I think we like try to figure it out if you want to like, write or produce your own thing is like, what's going to sell and all that. And like, that's fine. But you're trying to put together this equation that you just don't know, that there's not a real equation there. And it's like, what do I want to watch? And that's what you answered. And you're just like going for that. And like, when you do that, you are going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy that journey so much, no matter what happens, right? Whether it becomes the next Entourage or Ballers, right? Or you get to the end and you're like, it didn't quite get there, but like I had some fun. I really enjoyed this and I'm proud of myself. Like
100%.
Both.
Well, we got to that point and then signed a contract with the Savannah Bananas and then moved to Europe. And then I've just had like all these amazing life opportunities come in front of me. I'm like, oh my gosh, we haven't worked on this in a year. So we just recently got the team back together. We've recognized that as independent filmmakers who don't already work at a studio, getting an idea greenlit, even when you have star power and big names attached, I have executives from the Dodgers attached. Like, you wouldn't believe how difficult it is to get a freaking scripted TV show an opportunity, not even a full green light or a call to order. Just give us a shot. Let us make you a pilot. Can we just have a meeting? And even that, like I got meetings at Hulu, NBC, Stars, a few other places, but the main targets were Amazon, Apple, and Netflix. And for 4 years now, I just haven't been able to get a meeting there. And I consider myself an incredible networker. I read this book, How to Bring Value to VIPs, which led to me being able to get in touch with legitimately famous, successful people far beyond where I'm at in my life and career that have been willing to work with me. So it's just unbelievably hard. So we're pivoting not because it's hard and we failed, but because we feel this is the best route for us as producers, as well as for On Deck to see the light of day and for everyone else to come see it, which is to turn it into a feature. And after we show them, hey, we tried telling you guys this, it didn't work, so we're showing you now. There are millions of baseball people absurdly hungry for this content. And maybe then it'll pivot into a show. But right now it's a feature. So we're talking to a few ball players. It looks like we got the funding hopefully taken care of sooner than later. And yeah, I'll call you with an audition sooner than later, or just an offer, right?
Yeah. I love it.
But yeah, On Deck is my first producing project that is going to go all the way. Other than On Deck, which I still believe after it comes out as a feature will become a 2 to 4 season show. The only other TV show I have interest in bringing to life and producing is Hard Ups. And it's inspired by a Middle Eastern show called Asful that blew me away in 2010. And I had to watch it with the subtitles. And it's not available anywhere online because John Wells and Burbank Studios immediately went and acquired this. This show was a sensation. It came out 50 episodes, 1 episode a day, every day for 50 consecutive days. And it took the country by storm. The logo for the show is a stop sign. They started putting stickers of the show's logo on actual stop signs all over the country. I've never seen anything sweep a nation by storm the way this show did. And I think their marketing approach and the way they released each episode 1 a day for 50 days in a row was what generated the hype. So that's part of my marketing approach. It takes place in the Middle East, but I found a lot in Vegas that loans itself exactly to what the show was, but an Americanized version, incorporating the Las Vegas Strip and the new MLB stadium being built in Las Vegas, which we'll have to move this lot in order to do, which aligns perfectly with the original story. I think I'm the perfect person to tell the story because I know the original IP, but I'm not married or attached to it. It's not mine, but I understand it. I speak that language. I understand America now. I live here. I speak this language, and I think I speak the Hollywood language right in the middle that'll bring the project together. So, John Wells, I'm coming, baby. But I've called their front office like 6 times over the last 12 years just to touch base on it. And every time I get the same answers, like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. And if I did, I couldn't talk about it.
Dang.
But I'm the right person to bring that project to life. And
I love it.
Sooner than later.
Well, best of luck, man. Well, Alex, dude, it's been a lot of fun, but let's do our 5 questions to end strong. Spotlight sign off. Here we come, everyone. Question 1. What's something that you're super grateful for today?
Not having to pay for an $80 Uber to come here. I had a ride. No, I'm grateful that I'm living the life I used to dream about. And while I'm not quite where I want to go yet, I've already surpassed where I wanted to be 10 years ago. So both as a ball player who's now gotten to play in sold out stadiums across the country and signed thousands of autographs for kids that I hope my autograph made them smile, a fraction of what ball players' autographs used to excite me when I was a kid. So to get to be on the other end of that and have kids messaging me asking for my baseball card, insane. And with the whole Savannah Bananas thing, I got a legitimate taste of fame. Yeah. So now with acting, that's the last thing I want. Yes, I'm pursuing notoriety from the greats in our industry. I want directors and casting directors to know Alex Bentley is going to deliver a fine job. But to be on the red carpet signing autographs and have people recognizing me, dead last thing on my mind. And all of us have an idea in our head of what we would be like famous, I think. Just doesn't cross my mind. I just don't care. I have no desire for it. I'm very pro anonymity. I want to be able to walk into a Starbucks on Sunset Boulevard, buy a coffee, have no one have any idea who I am, go back in the car, change, and then walk the red carpet for our Oscar-nominated project.
I don't know if you can have both.
I'll take the anonymity.
Yeah.
I mean, look at John Turturro. He's just now, in my opinion, reached a level where I'm like, I don't think that guy can go in public much. Mm-hmm. But that's a guy who's had an incredible career.
I mean, there's definitely. Did you see that show? I was on Netflix. That guy in that one thing.
That's the name of the show?
Yeah. It's so.
Oh,
good.
wait a minute. It's about guys you know the face but not the name.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's real good. Real good.
Is he featured in it?
I don't think so. No.
I would think he used to kind of fit that, but now John Turturro is like a household name in Hollywood now.
Yeah. I don't remember if he's in it. I don't remember everybody in it because it's that guy in that one thing.
I know the faces.
But I mean, everyone has like 100+ credits or whatever. Wow. Well, question 2 is, what is a book, TV show, or film that changed the trajectory of your life?
The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It's about the compounding residual effects of consistency. And
love that.
There's some really sharp examples that I could give. And they're not just examples, they're like studies. They're literal proof of what putting in a little bit more work than the next person consistently over the period of time. I mean, it loans itself to investing. It loans itself to acting, to hard work. It's the most broadly applicable book I've ever read, but for the things that I'm passionate about and pursuing, it comes to mind almost on a daily basis. And I also really like Models by Mark Manson. It's actually the log line for the book is How to Attract Women Through Honesty. Ironically, I don't think any of it is, I wouldn't say I don't think any of it is applicable for that stuff, but I haven't applied it in those areas. To me, it's just made me a better listener, a more quality person, a more quality friend, a more quality man, and definitely a more quality versatile actor. So for books, I'd go with those two, even though there's so many more. How to Stop Acting by Harold Guskin. Ivana Chubbuck's book is solid. Some of the terminology is, acting-wise, is a lot of stuff we're already familiar with, just different verbiage. And when you see some of the greatest teachers teaching the same things in different words, it kind of calms you down a little bit as an actor. It's like, oh, I already know these things.
Yeah.
And it's all universal. It's the same every Stanislavski. That's just, okay, I'll take this for my tool belt. I'll take this part for my tool belt. You don't have to adapt a whole cult-like way of doing it. If Meisner and Lee Strasberg is the only way you want to go and everything else is noise, cool. More power to you. Do what works for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those books were great because it wasn't like, this is the only way to do it. It was just, okay, I'm going to take these three things because these are the three things that stuck out to me in this book, and I'm going to apply them to my tool belt.
Dope. What's
Sorry, you asked for one and I gave you four.
You know what? So a lot of times
I can do top fives. I can't give single answers.
Yeah. You know, the truth is you know, there's not like the like favorites a lot of times. A lot of people are like, well, I got more than one. I'm like, sure, spit them.
Just rapid fire.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
What's something in your daily routine that you really cherish?
The daily routine I've actually been doing, or my morning routine written on paper that I've been kind of neglecting?
Oh, interesting.
Can't just give one answer. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
A part of my daily routine right now, what is it? A part of my routine that I cherish?
Yeah.
I'm just, as an actor, this is a funny sentence, but I'm just incapable of lying to you on camera. I don't have a part of my routine right now that I'm proud of. My routine has been absolute shit recently, but I'm self-aware of it, and I have my routine on paper. I wake up every morning and look at it before I let myself touch my phone, and still don't fucking do it. So,
well, you know, so what's interesting about that, right, is you gotta change the pattern and what you're doing, right? So right now that's not working. The writing it down, looking at it before the phone, right?
What you're not changing, you're choosing.
Yeah.
I'm choosing these bad habits, not just.
And yeah, maybe make it easier. You know, just start with one thing.
Absolutely.
To do.
Well, in that case, I go outside, let the sun hit my face with my eyes closed, and take 2 minutes worth of deep breaths, just literally trying to exhale gratitude.
I mean, that's pretty darn good, bro.
It used to be 20 minutes of no phone meditation every morning. I used to be so much more spiritual and disciplined in the mornings. Now
okay,
it's almost straight to Instagram, right?
Careful though, because you're still doing something great and letting the sun hit your face and then like exhaling gratitude. But if you compare it, right, you're always gonna destroy yourself.
What's one of the worst words? Comparing.
Yeah,
I agree.
So don't compare to what you used to do. If what you're doing right now is working, congratulations, good.
I guess it's working.
And I think there's a lot of people
unemployed and overweight. I wouldn't say it's working right now.
Well, if it's making you more grateful, I think it's working.
It's working.
And I think there's a lot of people that would like to have that in their routine. You know, they're like, oh yeah, get out in the sun and just focus
before
on some
touching
breath.
your phone.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I do.
Yes.
I go outside, even if it's cold, it's 20 seconds, not 120 seconds,
yeah,
right?
Totally.
I'm living in Vegas right now. It can get kind of breezy there. But for me, the answer I would have liked to have been able to have given you, which goes back to the book, The Slight Edge, having such a huge impact on my life and success, has been to wake up and read 10 pages, which is ironically from the book, The Slight Edge, is 10 pages every day. Not a chapter, not an hour, just 10 pages. But the easier something is to do, the easier it becomes not to do, which is where good habits and bad habits almost have a fine line, where it's like it's really easy to kind of blur one way or the other sometimes, especially when you're not aware. That's the other thing with bad habits is you're usually not aware of it until it's a habit.
Right.
So
100%. So this fourth question of our spotlight sign off is going to be interesting. What's something you're currently trying to improve in your life?
Shit, bro. Damn near everything. Let me give you an answer you can use. I would say right now, something I'm trying to improve in my life is, like we said before, as an actor, we are our own brand, our own business. I have a nice dimple when I'm in shape, man. I'm trying to get myself back where I was. It doesn't have to be like abs and pro baseball shape, but I'm well aware that I'm not at my best right now. And I think no matter what genetic gifts you've been given, you are attractive if you are at your best, no matter how you look.
Yeah.
There are gorgeous people that are at their worst, and there are people that were not genetically blessed who are at their best. And I would say the latter are just more attractive, more healthy, people you want to be around more. Like it's nice to be around someone who's at their best. You are the residual product of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? If 1, 2, or 3 of them are at their best, I promise it's going to rub off on you. And to be at your best, it takes us back to discipline being the highest form of self-love. So to be around disciplined people, I think, is a good thing. And there's different types of discipline, right? There's creative discipline. There's entrepreneurial discipline. There's family man discipline.
Yeah, so
controlling
true,
your
you're
impulses
right.
and your urges.
That's
There's
great.
militant discipline, right? I have a buddy in the Marines. He gets up at 6 a.m., makes his bed, and then goes and does coke. You know, it's like discipline until, right? So there's different types of discipline. So overall, I'd say just trying to work on giving myself more grace and more self-love while simultaneously enacting more discipline, more consistency, more hard work, and getting back to the habits that make me the best man and the best actor I can be. Because this slow phase isn't going to last. This market that we have right now isn't going to last. At some point, we're going to have 8 auditions a week again. And it's going to be glorious.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be caught with my phone in my hand, slacking when that time comes. I want to be mentally, physically peaking, ready.
Love that.
Right? And when that hot wave comes out again, some of them are just going to be offers to names. And then after that, we're going to get going again. And I intend to not be like, okay, let's get back to it. I've been ready.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yep. Don't get ready, be ready. Absolutely. Well, last question, man. We've gone over a bunch of different stuff, so it might be something we already talked about, but if all the listeners could get one thing for sure, what would it be?
If all the listeners could take one thing from this conversation and only the one thing.
Yeah, or maybe it's something we forgot. We didn't even bring up. Oof.
I would say, as an actor, if your goal is to book more work and grow your career and your resume and your reel, read The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And just stay hungry. Don't be thirsty. There's a fine line between hunger and proactiveness. Like you said, we're not just going to sit on our ass and wait for auditions to come in. You got to go out and get it or find a way to get on the casting director's radar. But there's a fine line between being annoying and coming off as a wannabe and having respect for the craft, the people working in it, right? Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So stay hungry, not thirsty. Remain proactive. Don't get complacent. Stay ambitious. But there's ways to do that also turn people off from wanting to work with you. So keep it authentic. There's a lot of disingenuousness. And I've noticed certain filmmakers and actors sometimes want to impress the people outside of the industry by making things sound so glorious. I'm like, we shot this for $200 on a DSLR. Like, it is what it is. And it's still quality, but let's not pitch this as season 2 of Bridgerton. It's not. Right? So that's something that, I try to focus on the positive, but I gave 2 positives and 1 negative. Just be hungry, not thirsty, because you can rub someone a certain way in 2022 and it makes them not really want to work with you 4, 5, 6 years later. And I've been on the wrong side of that too, right? Don't burn bridges. That's another thing. This industry is smaller than it seems.
Oh, yeah.
Much smaller than it seems, right? Like, just don't be an asshole. Show up on time, polite, punctual, prepared, and just it's not that hard to not be a dick.
Yeah.
And it took me kind of years to figure that out, right? Sometimes just shut up. Let someone else be a dick, even if you're right.
Totally.
You don't have to always make sure everyone knows you're right. Just be good with yourself, be disciplined. Nothing will boost your confidence more than discipline and preparation. You know,
Love
and
it.
then after a certain amount of that, you'll realize, oh man, I'm killing this. I just haven't had my break yet. I'm doing good. It's like 7 out of 10 auditions. So
Awesome. Dude,
that's my 2 cents.
I love it. I love it. Alex Bentley, thank you so much. Everyone, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, this is your sign to do so. Alex, again, awesome to have you, man. It was a pleasure chatting with you and connecting.
Absolutely. Hope to be back in a few years and promote a movie that's going to be in theaters sooner than later.
Hell yeah, I love it. Put it out there.